Eternity at Equinox. I waited for eternity beneath the panorama of the equinox. The horizon was laden with the clouds of unrivaled patience, nimbuses of the stark hues of cobalt, drifting through the insistent jostles of the breeze, which was imbued with the wisps of pure melancholy. One caressed the next, and they were soon meshed together into a thick ribbon, a flurry of activity. Away, away. Hugging my knees, I resigned myself to being seated amidst the earthy smells of countless blades of grass, with a few ladybugs on the prowl. I had a vague image of what she might look like. She would definitely be donning a pair of decadent shrouds on either side, I mused, and half a score olive patches that would define her ancient form. Her tiara would be bronze studded with diamonds, because what other substance might stand the test of time? She would make her presence known upon the land of the living, on the day both the sun and the moon agreed to share their luster with an equal measure. I had wondered why she would choose this occasion. Why not during an eclipse, when these celestial objects are engulfed by another, for what seems to be an age? It seemed much more appropriate to my mind, but the whims of embodiments were not to be taken lightly, nor questioned. My penance would not be in vain. Indeed, I knew that I could have contented myself in the eyes of the populace by taking the crown for myself. No one would contest my claim, for I was their savior. But my hands hungered for something greater than my petty existence. And so I stripped myself of my mortal belongings and ascended the mountains of zeal, barely any clothes on my back nor meat in my belly. Nonetheless, I had persisted. For 14 years hence, I had awaited a boon for which I had sacrificed a life of luxury and laughter, power and prestige, royalty and renown. In their stead, I settled for a humble stone basin that I had carved amateurishly for myself, to wash myself and drink from, a bow and quiver with arrows that I made every other day. When I was not settling disputes in the court or entertaining my wives, I found that I had an abundance of time on my hands. Every morning I still started to find peasants and aristocrats alike begging me to return to the kingdom and take my rightful place on the throne. They told me tales of how the land had plunged into a civil war after I had departed, brothers murdering brothers, calling for fresh blood every other fortnight. They had first told me how my sister, the queen, had been strangled in a bathtub, her own handmaidens doing the deed. Treachery and tumult, as if they had occurred any less frequently when I had been called to bring the kingdom to peace. But their eyes shone with the very hope that I was beginning to lose with myself. The kingdom's oracle had seen what would come, evidently. I would return reading all the citizenry and storm the palace, exciting all those who had been the cause of anarchy for the past decade, and install myself as monarch at last, restoring order to the realm. I ignored them at every turn, and this time was no different. They had nevertheless refused to take back the dishes and servings of fruit they had brought before me, as if I could be wooed back by such trifles. I joked that if these visions had been cooked as well as the food, they just might have come true. Their aroma may have reached my nose, but my heart would not budge. Eternity came before me at long last, and I still have difficulty recollecting whether I had been dreaming. Perhaps I was, or perhaps it was merely a testament of her prowess. The former is much more likely, though. I observed then that she appeared nothing like I had envisaged. There were no shrouds, tiaras, or patches. Eternity simply was. She was everything that had ever transpired from the birth of the cosmos, and everything that will. I realized that my sight was unworthy to even gain a glimpse of her true form, so instead I saw flashes of time and space interspersed on a woman's body, the most prominent being twinkling stars at midnight and metallic discs that I could never fathom. She did not mince her words when she gazed down on me. "You seek immortality just like everyone else," she said, a tone dismissive and unimpressed. Her rustic voice did not echo, though I trembled all the same when I heard those words. "You shall not have it." "I understand." I went on my knees My penance was not yet completed, Your Infinity. Perhaps I shall deserve it in another 20 years. No, you buffoon, you shall never have it, she said impatiently, her tone awash with mud. Why? So you can waste it dozing on this mountain, serving only yourself, while your people suffer when they need you most? I wasn't dozing, I protested. I was meditating, indulging in nothing more than concentration, hoping to achieve the honor of your presence, Your Infinity. It makes no difference to me. Selfishness does not become you, human. You are part of something much more substantial than yourself. You must contribute to it in one way or another to earn your identity, especially when the land needs you. Perhaps you'll be celebrated for preserving your civilization for an era. Perhaps you'll gather infamy for doing nothing as it crumbles to ash. Immortality is not within your grasp, even if you meditate for centuries. Make your peace with it. Live well, since you won't live long. She vanished sooner than she had arrived, and all I can remember then were her last words to me. And thus I walked barefoot down the slopes of zeal, determined to reclaim the destiny that I had been foolish enough to discard, with an arrogance that did not befit me, or any of my kind. Dream would define me, as well as it should have. I was who I was because of the experience that I had earned from the people, and to the people I would return. And perhaps the penance had done me some good after all, I judged, watching as tiny pieces of umber stone tumble down a steep, alarming a flock of sheep. Duty had always been my calling, and to her arms I would return. Immortal I may never be, but I would have done what had mattered, and perhaps that was all that a person could strive to do. The wheel of time would continue to spin.